Hi everyone, this is Cyndi and I am your host for today. And I want to welcome you to my next episode called Transforming Your Finances with Sinking Funds. And you're probably thinking, what in the world is sinking funds? So let's just dive in and get an understanding of what sinking funds are and why they matter. So, a sinking fund is basically a dedicated savings account for a specific purpose. And that purpose can be for maybe car maintenance and repairs, unexpected medical expenses, maybe a trip or a vacation to Italy, holiday gifts, brand new car. And so it basically just allows for you to set aside money gradually so that you're prepared when those expenses arise or when they unexpectedly happen. So I want to share a personal insight of mine. Sinking funds, it was a game changer for me when I incorporated a few funds for specific things, and it really helped me to avoid that financial stress and ensured I had money set aside for those anticipated expenses when in fact they actually did happen. And with sinking funds, I feel like there's no more scrambling to cover costs at the last minute. And trust me, I've had that flat tire, I've had failed brakes. On numerous occasions, I've had things come up where they were not expected, around my home, like just projects itself, let alone plan in my budget. So this is why we create sinking funds, because we want to make sure that we have covered costs for things that we anticipate on happening. Now, when we talk about emergency fund and making sure that you have 3 to 6 months of expenses covered, that's a short-term emergency fund. It is not a sinking fund, in my opinion. I think that there's a short-term emergency fund and a long-term emergency fund. Short-term would be, again, like covering 3 to 6 months of fixed expenses. Long term would be anything beyond 6 months. And that would be if you lost your job tomorrow, what would happen? How would you be able to cover your mortgage or your rent and your fixed expenses for a period of time? Or you got hospitalized and you have all these hospital expenses. So that I feel is more the emergency sinking fund or emergency fund. They are not sinking funds. I want to correct that. But what I think, in my opinion, sinking funds are specifically for unexpected expenses. Okay. So think of sinking funds as a tool for achieving financial peace, because you want peace, right? When it comes to your finances, you want to be confident, you want to have that peace of mind, and planning ahead and saving for future expenses that are unexpected or maybe anticipated. You can navigate through those financial surprises with confidence and at peace and at ease. And that's my goal here, is just to give you a better understanding of what sinking funds are. Basically, it's just a category of unexpected or anticipated expenses. Now, let's talk about the need for them, right? So sinking funds are obviously essential because they help you to plan for the unexpected or the anticipated. And life is full of surprises, and having sinking funds means that you're prepared, well prepared for those sudden expenses that can otherwise obviously derail your budget. So again, I'm not talking about savings for retirement. I'm not talking about savings for an emergency fund. I'm talking about common funds for car maintenance. So you have your regular upkeep, like oil changes, that I'm sure you don't get an oil change every month. You probably get them every 3 to 4 months. So that's a few times a year that you can budget for. Or how about new tires? You may think or anticipate on changing out your tires this year, or maybe even having some repairs done. Also, holiday gifts. You want to avoid the holiday rush and financial strain by saving throughout the year. By the time Christmas comes around, you have that fund available to splurge on gifts. And again, medical expenses, you plan for routine checkups, prescription, unexpected medical bills, all of those things. Now, let's talk about how to create and manage sinking funds the most effectively. In my opinion, I really do feel that setting clear financial goals, and I stress this in almost all of my budget talk episodes, I always talk about financial goals, making sure that they are very clear and upfront. You want to start by identifying the categories for your sinking funds. Consider both recurring or unexpected expenses that you need to save for or those that you anticipate. Now, budgeting for sinking funds, you're going to allocate a portion of your income towards these funds within a spending plan, so aka a budget. This might mean adjusting your spending in other areas just so that you have a peace of mind and making sure that money can be allocated to your sinking funds. And I do want to stress this. I want to point out that you should not have a sinking fund if you have a ton of debt to pay off or your income doesn't cover your prime expenses, like your fixed expenses, like your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, your insurances, or like your debt payments, your car payment, your credit card payments, things like that. So if you don't have income to cover those, or you have a ton of debt to pay off, please, I highly recommend do not have a sinking fund. So some, again, practical tools. The Every Dollar app is my personal fave, and I've said this on many episodes. Well, this is my 7th episode, but I've said this in previous episodes. I've stressed this with other clients that the Every Dollar app is one of my personal faves. I don't want you to get hung up on, a budget app. Just pick one that's free, that works with you and that connects with your bank account, because we want to make sure that everything is automated and all of your expenses are coming through. Now, consistency. I stress this. Regularly contribute to your sinking funds, review them periodically, make your adjustments, track and make your adjustments as needed. Consistency is key. You want to build a solid financial foundation. So stay consistent. Now, just to recap and wrap this up, we talked about the importance of sinking funds. We talked about how they will help you to plan for those unexpected and, anticipated expenses, and the steps to create and manage them effectively. So sinking funds, they are powerful. It's a powerful tool to make sure you have that financial stability and peace of mind. It's really just there. They are there just to help you get that peace of mind when unexpected or anticipated expenses happen and you have the funds for it. But again, if you're in debt, or if you don't have enough income to cover for sinking funds, please, I want to make this very clear. You should not be contributing to a sinking fund if you don't have the money for it, or if you don't have enough income to cover for a sinking fund. You want to make sure your prime expenses are covered, your fixed expenses and your debt payments. So I want to leave you with this. You do have the power to transform your financial future. And by incorporating sinking funds into your budget, you can navigate financial surprises with confidence. Remember, every small step you take towards financial planning brings you closer to financial freedom. Okay, so this is going to take a lot from you. And I know this episode is just talking about sinking funds, but I do want to express how important it is just to financially plan just in general. This is really going to give you a peace of mind in the future. So if you got this far in this episode, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for supporting me in my episode and also my podcast. I have so many more to go that are scheduled to launch every week, every Tuesday. So if you found this episode helpful or inspiring, I encourage you to share it with someone who might benefit from it. If you didn't capture this from a social media, or if you don't have social media, you can find my website at prosperityandgrace.com. It's A-N-D, prosperityandgrace.com. Make sure you follow and subscribe to my mailing list if you want to get more information in the future on some exciting things that I have launching this year. But if you did find me on my social media, please, again, subscribe. If you found me on Spotify, please follow and subscribe. And until then, take care and God bless.